He hit himself.
Oh.
Good timing.
Yeah, it was great. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Kayla. We're going to give folks about 30 more seconds to get onto this Air Meet. I know it's a new platform for some people, but trust me when I say that you are in far better hands on Air Meet than you could ever be on Zoom. So welcome to the platform. And welcome to the community campfire. I really wish we had like an actual fire. If I had like one of those Korean hot plates that you bring to the table that you grill stuff on, I would light that up for you guys, but I just don't have that. I don't know if you guys got one, Christian, Marta, Pauline, in your house. No?
Gonna get one after this.
What? I'll bring a candle.
Yeah, we gotta get one too.
All right, let me see if I can get us into these quads because I feel like my face just looks so big compared to you guys. How do I do that? Is it this one? All right, perfect.
Nice.
Amazing. Okay, we're gonna jump straight in. What up, Seoul Startups? It's been a long time since we all got together, so really grateful to be here. I'm Kayla Lim. I used to describe myself as like the newest community leader, but that is not true, and you'll find that out later in a couple of minutes here. But what we're doing in this startup conversation today is just to tell you a little bit more of like where we came from, what we're doing, and oh, she brought the fire. You brought the expensive fire. She's
Wow.
a Joe Malone candle over there. Thank you, Marta. Like the vibe. Now I just need a.
Really, for anyone who's interested, that's my neighborhood candle shop called Better Than Alcohol because they also do tea.
I need a marshmallow now. Let's go straight in with introductions. Let's see who these people are. So we're gonna go around, name what like your spoke is. We got a handful of community leaders. They each tend to kind of like lean into one area. Some do a lot of things, some do all the things. And then we're gonna talk about when you joined Seoul Startups and what you do professionally or what takes up your most time. So let's start with the OG. Marta, good evening. Thank you for lighting the candle, for lighting our way.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it now because I guess I just have to hold it.
Oh no, you can blow it out. I don't want it to be like a safety issue, but whatever. If it adds the ambiance, keep it lit.
Just sit here. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Martha. I'm, like Kayla said, I'm the OG of Seoul Startups. I was there when it started 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago in 2017. And I've kind of taken over running it and growing it professionally. I'm a professional ecosystem and community builder here on the Korean startup scene. I work with multiple organizations and try to build connections that will in turn help you here in Seoul Startups.
Marta, what's your Seoul startup? If you'd like to talk about startups in Seoul, what's a startup today that you've been following or that you love that's just been on your?
I've been thinking a lot about startups because I'm actually running Impact Collective, and we're recruiting startups at the moment. So I've been stalking quite a few, but the one that I've been religiously following or using the last few months, almost a year now, is Laundry Go, because I'm very bad at household chores, and I just love that I can, put everything into a duffel bag, stick it out the door, push a button on the app, and it comes back the next day all nice and clean.
Wow, that's awesome. Laundry
Woman. Simple woman with simple needs.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marta. All right, Christian, on to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to see everyone here. I'm Christian. I've been part of Seoul Startups for just over 2 years. I joined in March 2019. I'm in charge of all the visual things you see on our social media, from the community reports and things in between. I've started my own business here since February, and I've been working with Seoul Startups and a few other clients in between. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here to, put the blanket around our shoulders and take a step back through time and reminisce a little bit. One startup that I've been looking at lately is called Stayfolio. They're a really cool startup that provides local, it's kind of like the Airbnb in Korea. They do really cool local stays. Of course, the pandemic these days has made it a lot harder to stay in these places, but do check out their places. Once the pandemic kind of subsides a bit, I can't wait to get one of those places. But yeah, that's me, everyone. Great to be here.
Which city did you love the most that you stayed in for Stayfolio?
Oh, I haven't used it yet. I've just been browsing through all their catalogs. They get really cool photographs and their architecture is really unique. So I've been looking at Jeju ones for sure. But yeah, for the time being, just window shopping.
That's awesome. I feel like a lot of my friends do that with retail. We'll like add a bunch of things to the cart, look at the cart total. I'm like, close window. But instead you're like, where will I travel to next? Browse and be like, oh, no, close window. Not yet.
That's cool. Do give it a check.
Yeah. And Pauline, hello, welcome. I'm particularly thankful that you got to join us today. You are our newest community leader. Girl, tell us about yourself, tell us what you're doing, and how you found Seoul Startups too.
So my name is Pauline, and I joined about a little more over a month ago. And I mean, as a community leader, but I was part of the Slack group for I think 1-point-something months, maybe 1.5 months. And I found out through a friend because I was really interested in getting to learn more about the startup community. And he told me that it might be a great idea to join. So I've been a member since. And I'm really excited to, although it's only been a month and we're still in the talking phase, I'm really excited to see how this is going to unfold and how we grow as a community. And I look forward to helping Martha and everybody else just overall expand the community internationally and also locally as well. And a startup that I've been looking at actually has more to do with my industry that I'm currently in. And so currently I have my own business importing and distributing building materials. And there's this company, so basically construction industry. And there's this company that's basically marrying tech and construction together. So because construction industry is like, I believe at the very bottom when it comes to that adopting tech. And so the company is called Icon, like AICON, which is supposed to be like a play on words, like AI and construction together. And I just met them maybe less than 2 months ago, and I was really excited to see how they're going to change our industry. And they have a really great plan. And I think 20 years, it's going to be a lot more efficient and a lot less, shall I say, some shady activities in the construction sites. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that company excel in the future.
You say shady activities for construction sites, and where my head goes next is like thinking about the concrete mafia and just the people that control the imports and like the gangs.
I mean, not really like that. It's just more about how I think the way they do their business is not very clean, shall I say, in the construction industry. You know, the developers, architects tend to be obviously a lot better, but the people who are like building tends to be very messy. So I'm really excited to see this company kind of getting rid of a lot of those or creating barriers to prevent such activities from happening in our industry. Very
cool. All right, that's awesome. We got a lifestyle startup with Laundry Go. We've got some travel startups, Stayfolio, and a construction startup, AICon. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. We have some people on the call today who aren't actually in formally the Seoul Startups community. So maybe like 1 or 2 sentences. What is this community? Why do people come together for it? In like the simplest way. Whoever wants to take the question.
Yeah, I guess the responsibility is always on me. Seoul Startups is the biggest international startup community in Korea. We have over 2,400 members at the moment, coming close to 2,500. And we focus on bridging, on building connections, on making sure that entrepreneurs are in the center of the Korean startup ecosystem. So for those of you who are not part of the ecosystem at the moment, Korea is a great scene, but it's very government driven. It's not driven by the startups, by the entrepreneurs. It's driven by policies. And on one hand, that's a good thing. I'm not shading the government for doing shitty stuff, although that happens too. But I want to kind of point out that really in a healthy network, in a healthy ecosystem, it's always the startups, the entrepreneurs that should be in the center, and all the other players should be working together, not competing, but working together to create synergies for them and create the best opportunities for the businesses to grow.
Yeah. So clearly there's a big need for it in Korea. What motivated you to start this community?
Bad networking events, lack of events in English. And I'm not saying in English because of foreigners. I'm saying that Korean startups, Korean entrepreneurs, if you want to go global with your business, you also have to come to the terms that it's all going to be in English. And if you want to network, if you want to connect with the valuable experts in your industry, you won't do it through government-run Korean events. You have to go beyond that. And so while we were complaining about that, sitting and drinking in a bar, that's how the idea for Seoul Startups was born, to kind of create a platform where people can share about events, about information that probably is not very accessible for people without the right connections, and kind of, help. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite part about the story, is that it started in a bar, because it's very characterized for like Korean business to not happen without alcohol. And I was like, I guess some of the best ideas also get spurred up with alcohol. So it starting in a bar is very charming to me. So me, Christian and Pauline, if you guys want to chime in a bit, like when you found Soul Startups, what were you looking for, and what did you discover in like your own journey for the community?
Yeah, I'll jump in. What really drew me into Seoul Startups when I first came across it, I remember it was, I think it was the second or third event that Marta put together at Google for Entrepreneurs. And I just came from the UK, and in the UK I was quite involved with those I was part of a startup community as well at my university, and we'd always connect with London and try to teach students entrepreneurship skills and get them ready for that career path or that trajectory afterwards. And coming to Korea, like Marta said, I just went to so many different networking events, and it was just so stiff. Everyone were wearing suits, and of course the language barrier was a thing. But when I saw Marta put together, I was always searching online for events, and when I saw Marta's Seoul Startup event, it just kind of drew to me, and I just went to that. And the vibe was just different. Everyone was just, it was just so much more energetic. Marta on stage just kind of drew out that culture that I think this community needed. And it's something that always drew to me. So I just reached out to Marta after the event. I said, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. I'll keep in touch. And then probably a couple months later, I was just spreading the word to any event I was going to. Any person I talked to, I'd be like, hey, there's this really cool community called Seoul Startups that I think you should join. It's right down your track of what you're looking for. And I think I just sent a message to Marta saying, I'm spreading the word. And then she's like, why don't you just join a team? And then the history has been made since then. But Seoul Startups to me has always been that comfort community that just is there for you when you need it. And it's something that it's really hard to traject through the Korean landscape. And Seoul Startups for me has always been that comfort bubble where you can go on and connect with people or just reach out to anyone. We're all there to help you. And that's what it's always been from day one. And we're just trying to amplify that culture, those values that we hold so true to us, of what it means to start a business, or so that's what Seoul Startups has always meant to me, and that's what brought me in the first place.
And you've been a community leader for 2 years now. You've helped build this community. What's like the biggest challenge for you in growing like a community in Korea as an expat, and also during like, a time of a pandemic? Because that's like what's so unique about trying to grow this, right? You're picking a very hard time in society. We're trying to get people together in creative ways.
Yeah, no, that's always been the question. I think there's just always a lot of energy. There's always a lot of excitement. There's so many things that you can do. It's a matter of channeling that energy into the right paths. And Korea has a very well-defined path as it is. We're trying to figure out new trajectories, or trying to introduce things from outside in. And there have always been challenges in, culture difference, how things are done here. And we always have that stance of, this is what is being done outside. This is what we know, what we see. This is what, if it happens here, we know it can help project things much further. We're all entrepreneurs ourselves. We all have our own ambitions. And the challenge has always been to try and project that energy into the right places to bring value to the community and all our players. At least that's what I can think for now, but maybe Pauline had something to share.
Yeah, go ahead, Pauline. Tell us your story. A little bit on yours.
I think all the reasons that you stated, I totally agree with you with all of those things. And just, I think for me, what I look for when I joined the group was more about meeting other people who are like-minded as well, and who were very driven and wanted to do something that might be not traditional. And I don't know, it's also like Christian said, it's like finding like a comfort group, or just a group that you can kind of talk to and you can relate, and just help each other whenever you need. And I think this group does that for us.
We talk a lot about people being like a startup ecosystem. What does it mean to us when someone's a part of Seoul Startups Community? Like, what's that distinction between being a Seoul Startups Community member versus like you're in the ecosystem?
Maybe. Do you want to start off with Marta?
For me, I mean, it's twofold, right? The simplest thing is just being part of the Slack group. You're already part of the community, the virtual community. But it's also being engaged in the discussions, the sharing, the exchange of information. So far, most of the members have had more of a passive role in the community. We want to change that with the upcoming new plans, to have people be more involved in creating value really for themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. Have there been communities in the past where you've like been a part of that you've seen it function at what you're describing, like that kind of high activity, people are participating?
Yes, I used to run a developer community, believe it or not. I'm not a developer myself, and I've never managed to finish the tutorial, but it was a very active community where members were super active. Everybody was helping each other out. It died out because the main organizers went on their ways. It's running a community is hard. So if it's a full-time job that nobody pays you for up to now, we want to change that as well. And when people got, full-time jobs, that just dwindled down, unfortunately. But it was super active. And the best part was that it was for women developers, female developers, and it was full of sharing, just getting together out on a picnic, taking out your computers and coding together, for instance.
Yeah.
And that was super, super cool and super fun.
Yeah. See, when I think about communities like that, it's like the shared passion is we're gonna create and we're gonna build. But when it comes to Seoul Startups, because it's just incredibly massive, some people are entrepreneurs, some people are advisors. The common theme is like we're all suffering. We actually all chose like the hardest way to build our lives here in Korea, and we're all have this common pain. It's like help us out, guys. And that's like what I feel like I see on Slack a lot. Or like people are so open about like their problems, and I think what we want to see are like people either pointing people to the right direction or just continuing to bring them because we do want to help. We have several people who have been through your issues. What are things that we see that people connect over in our community that we never expected them to?
Common pain.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Common pain.
Common pain and common challenges.
Yeah.
I think that's the best connector because I mean it's hard being an entrepreneur regardless if it's in Korea or anywhere else, but if you have somewhere to like let out your steam and have someone, pat you on the back and say like, "Oh, I've been there as well," you kind of feel a little bit better about yourself.
Just knowing like you're not in it alone.
I think also because it's in English, and for anybody who has hard time speaking Korean, they can always have that, right? A community that can speak English and probably from like an international background as well. And there's also that common pain that people can share that maybe Koreans here might also face, but not as well. But either way, I mean, I know we do have Korean members, but I think just because it's international, we can share pain in many other ways.
What are the other ways that we share pain?
I don't know, just simple things like visa issues or some barriers, like government regulation issues, right? Like not being able to start a company because you didn't have the right visa. That maybe if you were a Korean citizen that you wouldn't really face here. Or how would you go about opening a company if you had a visa issue? You would know through this community, you can talk to people to see what the best options are for you depending on your plans.
Yeah. One of the biggest influences this community's had on me is that so the people I'm sitting with today are all entrepreneurs. I am by no means, I'm not. I still work for the man or used to. So when you're around people who do design their own life and who take the hard way, it's just so contagious that you can like see someone do this and see how much they're filled with life by doing it, that you too kind of develop the confidence of like, I can figure it out. And you guys all talk about pain, but I feel like I only saw the golden parts of like everyone's so happy. They're creating their own life, their own schedule. And that was one of the ways I've walked away with. Then I go on Slack and I was like, geez, these people got problems. They got book problems. They got living problems.
Yeah, I feel it's part and parcel being in Korea. Like you can't get by unless you are kind of having a hard time. I came to Korea with that naive sense that, yeah, everything's gonna be great. I had a great time in the UK, everyone was so helpful. And then over the years, you just become a lot more gritty. And I feel that's the mindset you need to have to go through. I think you get a lot more work done. People start listening to you a little bit and vice versa. I feel that mindset is trickled on. I mean, being here. But what I really like about Seoul Startups as well is that if anyone reaches out, we're really good, and as some more than others, hint Marta, are really good at referring to the right people who can help the person who's asking for help. I think I got a follow up on someone who's looking for a visa lawyer in the Slack channel, but I think that's always been a strong point of Seoul Startups, that if you're new to the community, if you are interested in coming into Korea and you don't know how, through Seoul Startups, you just ask that question, give a good vibe off that you're here to help as well, and we can help you vice versa. And it's something that any new startup I come across, that wants to go global or whatnot, I say, hey, join Seoul Startups. Someone is bound to help you or know you or know someone who knows someone, and that's what I like about this community that's helping us struggle a little bit less through whatever this struggle ocean is that we being in Korea. But that's something that I've always liked about this community, and I know Marta's always been great at referring the right people.
Yeah, I think we're always here to help. One thing I've noticed with new people is like my expectation is for them to bring more, like be very specific on what they've tried. Like the community of people are also very busy, so it's more interesting to read a question like, "Hey, I've had this problem, reached out to these things, they all failed for me. What have you guys done?" And like, "Oh, if you tried all this, we recommend maybe Z if you tried X, Y." But an expectation we like to put on new members too is like making yourself a little known as well. I think it's been really hard going all online, and I know we're itching for like in-person events, but let's run through it. New person joins. They find the Slack. There's a lot on the Slack. They say hi. They write their intro. And then like, what's the next best thing for someone to do after that?
So, well, make sure you do write your intro. That's a very important part that a lot of people I've noticed skip. But just reach out and start asking questions. Start looking through what people are sharing. Start engaging with discussions, like in matters that are of interest to you. And I'm 100% sure that someone will reply to you, someone will reach out to you, someone will be like, yeah, let's go for a coffee and talk about this a little bit more. So just don't, it's easy to be shy and anonymous, especially online, but now that that's all we've got, take advantage of it and be a little bit more outgoing. Pretend that we are on an offline event.
Yeah, it would have been tenfold easier if we could all meet offline. I mean, that was the beauty of all the events that I came across and got to know Seoul Startups, and you just meet everyone and everyone. I said everyone twice, and just connect really quickly and feel that culture. It's a lot harder online. I mean, we're 4 boxes right now, but try to reach out, try to speak up, try to even just give an emoji, like thumbs up, a random comment, that gets yourself known. Funny enough, we check our analytics and we have, I think, maybe 200 daily messages, people messaging each other privately. We have a lot of DMs flowing about, which is good, but keep that up. I think once this pandemic is over and we're comfortable to have our first offline event, that will springboard us to go back to how it was. But for now, we just have to keep that culture online. Yeah.
When you throw our first offline event, do you expect full attendance, or do you feel like people like what's your gut tell you?
Yeah, good question. It's tricky. I mean, if we play our cards right and we put something together that people want, then yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, we always. I mean, does anyone want to jump in?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people because I don't know. I think everybody's tired of the lockdown and these, attending events through like a Zoom or like you said, 4 boxes. So I think initially it might start to pick up. It might be a lot of people, and then it might pick up, and then maybe it'll level out because they're like, hey, there's a lot of events to attend. So I'm guessing, but who knows?
Yeah. Remember that we won't be the only ones holding events, but hopefully our events will be attractive enough for everybody to show up. In the meantime, I do want to remind everyone that as long as there is even a slight chance of any big infection jump during an event,
Yeah,
we have to avoid that. For various reasons, but mostly because we care about your health more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Can't operate your business if you're feeling bedridden. So that's very, very true. Let's take a question from the audience. So one thing that came in, we're kind of talking about it already. It's from Juliana. She's asking oops, it just scrolled down. What were the challenges of moving this stuff, like having this community during the pandemic, and how did we maintain the stickiness of it?
I don't think we were pretty flexible to begin with. I mean, remember, our core is a Slack group to begin with, so moving online wasn't so much of a problem. In fact, if anything, for me personally, it's easier to run an event online from my room instead of worrying all the logistics of an offline event. Although I am the biggest fan of offline events there is. But yeah, I think it was a pretty smooth transition for us, and we just continued to be more active and more proactive online. And also, you, Kayla, had this super initiative of meeting in small groups offline with participants, and that was a pretty cool thing as well.
Hell yeah. When we get in groups of 4, we try to get in safe groups of 4, take you guys away from your laptops. Marta will take you up one of the highest mountains she can find in Seoul, call it a hike. It's like a half-day adventure. It's always a lot of fun, guys. So your advice for then maintaining stickiness online. We had a Slack. Juliana, sorry, I should have clarified her question. She's asking, what are the tips to maintain that? Like, how do we still stay sticky even though the pandemic's going on? How do we keep the engagement high? Christian, I saw your mouth move. If you want to dive in.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of persistence. When we first started shifting to online, we became a little bit more content focused. We had a blog running up. We started thinking about how to make online events exciting. So we had to bring more tools into the picture, like Mentimeter or AirMeet as we are now. This is a really cool platform which allows us to connect in our virtual tables afterwards.
Yeah,
it's a lot of, I mean, a year and a half through this, it's a lot of persistence. You have to just, if you're going to post something, it doesn't get traction, you just keep moving, keep growing, keep thinking about how to provide more value to the community. And I think because everything is online, it's a lot easier for people to just opt out of things. So it's I think through the last year and a half through our events, it's just being a little bit more proactive with bringing things out and trying to add a little bit more spice to things, be it, making a design pop more, or making the content stand out more, or just thinking of creative ideas of how to bring engagement in. Yeah, from the core, it's persistence, I think, how to make it stick. There's no real way to work. You just have to, if you really want this to work online, you just have to go for it, I think.
Speaking of spiciness, we got something coming up in about a month in August, right? We're doing something a little different.
We are. Indeed, we are. Everyone here, all 23 of us, you heard it here first. Yes, we are organizing another event. The name's still to be determined, to be confirmed. But it's a really cool event. It's a really exciting event. It's the first time we're doing something like this, so we're really excited. And it's all about sharing your failures to the world, to our community, sharing your stories about something that happened to you in your work, at your startup. What did you learn from that? And just come up on the stage. You have 10 minutes, share it out, and we'll come together afterwards and give you a pat on the back. And the name is still to be confirmed, so don't want to give that away. But that's the general theme, and it's on August 26th.
August 26th. Mark your calendars, August 26th evening. We like flipping the script in a lot of ways. Like today we got community leaders. August, we're going to have you guys on the air. I'm going to combine these 2 questions from the audience in one. I'm going to try to combine them. I can do this. Okay.
August 26th.
Do you have a certain strategy for building and growing this community while like maintaining the helpful culture as it grows? It's a bit of a loaded question.
It's 2 hats. I think that there has been 2 sides not probably more sides, but for me, it is kind of two hats. There is the very operational side where you have to do what needs to be done, and then there is the more community side where you got to reach out to people, you got to talk to them. Everyone in our team is just good at different things, and I think, for example, Kayla, you're really great at reaching out to people and setting things up, whereas I would love to do that. It's always a different hat, whereas I try to bring the visual communication to things we do. So I would say, if you try not to do it on your own, try to find people who have the same spirit as you and passion, and try to spread tasks apart, because there are a lot of different hats in building this community. And just focus on what you think you'd be best at. It's a lot of work. That's so try to find the things that you think you will be the best at, and let others come in and give out their natural flow. Because I know Kayla's just so you're really great at reaching out to people, whereas for me, I could do that, of course, but it's a different kind of, if that helps.
Yeah, what I've noticed and what I've observed is, like, no one person is good at community building largely, because it's so multifaceted. So I think when you let people do the work they really like and they want to do in their free time for the audience that they're passionate on being, like, you can just ride off that energy and let people run with the reins. We had Anastasia. She's a new community leader. She's really great at Instagram. Take over the Instagram. We want you to create that flexible voice. Pauline is just coming on. She's putting out feelers. We're going to figure out what she's kick-ass at. Have her go at it. Marta's definitely the jack of all trades, the queen of all trades. She's good at a lot of things. She's the key relationship holder in a lot of ecosystem players, and her being absolutely fluent in Korean is one of the most amazing things that I personally love watching. All right, we're gonna take the most upvoted question from the audience. What was the thought process behind building this community over Slack? Because there are many famous platforms for community building, like Discord, which I know you guys are also on for other reasons. Do we ever plan on shifting the community from Slack to something else? So why Slack? Do we think about switching it over to something else besides Slack?
It was a very random decision, but that was what everybody was using among the people, among the founding team. None of us were really big gamers, so we didn't know about Discord. I'm not even sure if Discord was around then. I'd have to double check when Discord started, but so we were just like, Slack. Everybody uses Slack every day anyway, so let's use Slack. Is it gonna move to another platform? I have a dream that if it's gonna move to anywhere else, it's gonna be a proprietary solution that we build ourselves, that will be stable, that will have all the features exactly the features that we need. But that won't happen today or tomorrow, but hopefully one day we will be able to provide something like that. In the meantime, let's enjoy Slack. It's not the best, but they're really trying to improve it. They just released a feature in Korean as well. So, and they have a really good emoji game going on. So let's appreciate that.
Emoji game is strong.
Yeah, we're long on Slack. We're long on Slack and AirMeet for now. Pauline, let's get you vocal here, girl. What would you recommend someone who just joined, if they want to help out with the community? What are the best ways they can offer their services, they can contribute?
Somebody that just joined, I guess it's just staying up to date with the posts and see what people are posting. And if they find something that they want to share with the community that's kind of interesting, I think that's another way for somebody to stay very engaged. And even just co-working spaces, if they're looking for somebody even, or if they know somebody there, they can post something. I think just staying active and engaged with the post, I think that's probably the best advice I can give for somebody who just joined.
Yeah, the question came from Tushita. She's a UI UX design student from India. She's self-learning Korean, which I feel like you could probably find some other people in the community that are also self-learning Korean. And she asked the question, like, how can I contribute and give back to this community? I think you nailed it. Checking out the Slack, treating it in a way like it's a Twitter timeline, seeing what's new, what can you reply back to, who can you tag in it.
Yeah.
Anything else, Christian and Marta, that comes to mind on ways that people can give to the community?
Yeah, no, I was going to jump in. Yeah, as a UX UI designer myself, I see a lot of startups posting in the picture startup or business. You know, a lot of people introduce their startups. Some release new products on product hunts. I would say, why not have a look at their website? Why not look at their product? And feel free to give some feedback. Anything that stands out that you think could be improved, feel free to reach out and offer helpful feedback. I used to work for a startup in Silicon Valley that made a tool that you could directly take a screenshot of any website and add annotations. And my job was literally to go across all of Product Hunt, Dribble, and just find startups or products that have just been launched and give free feedback. So I would think in Seoul Startup Community, reach out to people who are looking for feedback or advice. You know, as a UX UI designer yourself, you might have a really good eye at something, and feel free to offer some feedback. You wouldn't believe how more often than not people are very thankful for that feedback, and from that you could get follow-ups for other things, maybe your first gig, or if it's not your first gig, but reach out to startups that are launching things, and there are quite a few. I've noticed. I wish I could do it, but yeah, my hands are. But that's your chance, so go ahead.
Christian's not doing it, so you could do it.
No.
All right, let's take one more question from Juliana Jafar. I'm going to click on this button to show on stage. What are some activities that Seoul Startup does to onboard new members?
Do you mean the new members or new community leaders?
My gut, well, we can answer both, right? My gut says new members, and then we can answer the community leaders one.
For new members, we probably should be doing more. But in general, we just work on creating a safe and welcoming atmosphere on the Slack so that people feel comfortable enough to share and interact on Slack. The grand plan last year was to also do like community retreats, community meetups, take everyone to Jeju together. But it is what it is. So we have to do with our hands tied. But for sure, we should be doing more interactive stuff in the future for everybody to feel a little bit more energized.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was a real offline community, the first thing we do is probably give you a high five or do a rain dance. I don't know. We can't do that. But I think we just come to the intro channel, reach out, say hi. We will welcome you. We will welcome you with open emoji hands in the emoji tab. So feel welcome. From people who have joined 3 years ago to people who have just joined today. We're all the same. We're here. We're on the same boat. So it's never too late. Reach out to us and see how we can help you, or see how you can help the community. Just start from today. Start from now.
Yeah, I think that's something I know I personally take very seriously around when someone joins. What we care about is like, we want you to know that we saw you enter the room. We know Phil has arrived. Everybody welcome Phil. He came to Seoul Startups Chat, because if you think about it in a physical environment, how shitty does it feel for you to enter a room full of people, no one notices you came, and you turned around and you left? No one notices you left. Like, I consider that to be like the anti-goal of how we want Soul Startups to be. So when Marta says, introduce yourself, that's you giving us the opportunity to be like, hey, look, Felice is here. This is what Felice does. Here's her new website. Let's give her feedback about her website. We're eager to do that kind of stuff and interact with you guys, especially because we became incredibly international. A lot of people like left Korea. Some people came back. We got people that are visiting Korea from other countries. So Slack has been really like serviceable in that way. Was there ever a point for you guys where you wanted to like throw your hands up and just be like, screw this, community is really freaking hard. I just would rather let everyone in Soul Startups world like find their own way?
Every single day. Every single day, because let me put it that way and very clearly. Like I said, this is originally an unpaid, full-time, 24/7 job that, at least for myself, I have to wake up thinking about Soul Startups and go to sleep thinking about Soul Startups. And and on top of that, do other things as well. But ultimately, those efforts and those sleepless nights, crying in my pillow at night, which even happens just a few days ago, hopefully will pay off one day. And if anybody comes out from this having earned something, having gained something thanks to this community, then I'm fine with my little pains.
This perfect lead into the next question from the audience. Has that happened? Like, are there some stories where people have awesomely leveraged the Soul Startups community, be it in a business or private context?
Yeah, I think it happens more often than not. I mean, we've had events where, people, participants who join end up reaching out to each other and making a joint angel fund. We've had, I think, well, we can't see it. A lot of it is also behind the scenes, but we know that, through our job board, people are, some startups are getting interviews through our job board. We know that's happening. There's always something happening. I don't know I can't say what percentage of that we know of, but it's something that if we could.
We know one of which is the jobs. We have a job board. If you haven't been there, please go there, both on the Slack channel and on our website. And and people have been finding jobs, and companies have been finding employees.
Yeah, another point. Recently, we had a startup reach out to us saying, "Hey, we just launched a new product. It's on Wadiz, which is like the Korean Kickstarter," and they asked us if we could promote it, and we did. We put it into our newsletter, and we shared it to all our members, and they were very thankful. It helped them get a little bit more recognition, and that's something that, I know Kayla led that from the bottom of her heart, but that's what we do. We help people, and by all means, if you have something, we can try and share it.
Yeah, the job board is great. It was built by some of these people right here on the call. Definitely check it out. Finding employment, finding relationships. The distinction I'll also just make clear is like the Soul Startups community is a community that is run like a group of people. It is not a community that is run like a business. Like, we don't charge people to be a part of Soul Startups versus some other membership communities where to be in it, you pay an annual fee, etc. And I think there's such a distinction between the type of people you attract and what you can offer. So different models of community exist out there. We're open, we're free. I don't know if we plan on staying that way. I love that we're that way. It makes us be inclusive, lets everybody join, no barrier, because we want you here on your very tough journey. You got 10 minutes left of this, so I do want to break you guys out into tables so that you can bring your specific question to Marta, to Christian, and to Pauline. So before we go, we're a big community, very inclusive. What's the one stake in the ground that like we stand by in this community that does not move? What's the one strict rule that we carry?
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Don't be an asshole. That one's for sure.
I would say try to give something first before asking or taking. I think there's always I try to hold. I think it's something we try to do is try to think about what we can give first. And I know it's a quote we hold dear to us, but something that something that I think is important is to try and not ask something expecting something. Try to give value. Try to give something first without expecting anything in return. It's something that I saw a lot in the UK with the London startup culture, and something that I still think is important to try and just offer something first before expecting something in return. I think that's something that is at least my strict rule.
Yeah, difference between a network and a community. A network is like, we meet, what can you offer that I can get? What can I offer that you can get? It's always an exchange. Community is not about that. Community is all about giving first, learning, connecting, and also seeing if you truly vibe. You'll meet people in Seoul Startups you may not like. That is okay. That is 100% okay. You meet some people that you love. That's also great. But like, we want you to bring your full authentic self. And I testify like a lot of that comes from the top. Marta really walks around like her full authentic self. And like, we honor that. We like that, right? All right, Pauline, tell us something. What has been, you've been with us a short amount of time. You're super observational. What's the one strict rule that you see happen in this community?
For me, I would suggest, it's more of a suggestion, but
Yeah.
I would say to be open to ideas and other people. Instead of maybe shutting it down, like kind of think about it more. Just instead of saying something like it's not going to work in Korea, or just stay more optimistic, I guess, is what I would like to say. Should be one of the very strict rules of running this group.
Hell yeah, especially in this generation. I feel like in our parents' generation, I'm hoping a lot of that pessimism, they saw things we never saw in Korea, and they saw a country emerge from nothing. And I think here we come, writing off the hard work that they've built, they've done, we can come with a more optimistic attitude.
You hear that a lot, actually. In Korea, they tend to say things like it's not going to work here, or that's too risky, or something like that. It feels very closed off sometimes. Yeah.
Stay open. I love that
Maybe
suggestion.
it's a generational thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Pauline, Marta, and Christian, I'm going to put you guys to your tables. Audience, go ahead. When you go into a networking session, you'll see everyone at their table. Bop around, sit at one, explore AirMeet, have a great time. I'm going to click end this session, and that will move you there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.